Hi guys, so I thought I would do this Halloween special. So I've got my Halloween outfit on, which is like a candy skull, kind of candy skeleton, which is quite cute. So it's like an all-in-one. But yeah, so I thought I would talk about one of my favourite series, and quite an underrated series as well, that I have spoken about previously in the past. So a lot of people for Halloween will talk your generic, so that is your Sonic EXEs, your Mario EXEs or ROM hacks, whatever you want to call them, your Resident Evils, your Silent Hills, and all stuff along that line. So this horror kind of franchise is one of my favourites. It started out on the PlayStation 2, Xbox original, and the second one was actually ported over to the Wii as well, which what wasn't. So if you don't know what I'm talking about already, I'm talking about Project Zero. So Project Zero is an amazing horror game. You start off being Miku, and you have gone into the mansion to look for your brother, which is Mafuyu, and you are looking for your brother has gone in the mansion to look for Mr. Tokomine, which is a famous writer, and he's obviously taken in with him two other people. I can't remember their names offhand. I'll see if I can find them, put them up. But yeah, so all in all, the whole thing and story behind this game, obviously this isn't really spoiling it, you kind of get this in the first like 10 minutes of the game, is that unfortunately this mansion, they used to do a ritual, which is the ritual of the blinding mask, which is a mask that has basically thorn like prongs in the eye holes where they blind the women as a sacrifice. And then what they do is they do the final ritual, which is the strangling ritual, which they tie ropes around each arm, each leg and their neck, and basically put them on an old-fashioned kind of torture device where they turn it until it stretches. So all in all, the main storyline of this game is that the ritual went wrong. Obviously, spoiler, I will say right now, the girls aren't allowed to fall in love, because if they fall in love, they don't want to do this ritual. They actually are born and told they're going to do this ritual, and the girl falls in love, so therefore she doesn't want to die, she doesn't want to do this ritual, which means they kill the guy she falls in love with, and then from then she doesn't want to do it, so then it's kind of her wrath against everybody. So when they do the ritual, it goes wrong and it kills everybody in the mansion, servants, children, etc. From then on, anyone that attempts to live in the mansion unfortunately gets that kind of fate as well. But all in all, for a PlayStation 2 game, it has, I think personally, aged incredibly well. So the visuals aren't too bad. Yes, the controls can be a little bit finicky, and once you get used to them, you're absolutely fine. But other than that, I think it's really good. If you are into this series, I would highly recommend it, or if you haven't played it before, I would recommend giving it a go. You can actually play it on, there's Project Zero 1, 2, 3, Spirit Camera and 4. So 1 is on the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox original. 2 is on the PlayStation 2, I believe it's on Xbox original, and it's also on the Wii. 3, I believe, was a PlayStation 2 exclusive. I might be wrong about that one though. I haven't seen it personally on any other platform. Spirit Camera is one they tried to relive with the 3DS, which was incredibly weird. You had to have a book, like a special guidebook, to actually do it, which was one of those things. But if without the guidebook, you actually can't play the game. So I feel like that game's gonna probably end up being collectible, because either the books are gonna get lost or something like that. But it wasn't a bad game. I found it a bit annoying, kind of trying to chase ghosts with the actual camera and actually doing stuff like that. But and then the final one, which is Maiden of the Black Lagoon, I think, but I'll check the name. But it's on the Wii U, unfortunately. I'm hoping that one's actually going to get a good port over to the Switch. Most of the Wii U games are getting a port over to the Switch, and it actually sold out incredibly quickly. So the only way you can buy it, which I personally bought it second hand anyway because I missed the first actual run on the Nintendo store, is in a limited edition boxer form. So it's like the box, a heart steel case, an art book and stuff like that. So it actually unfortunately is quite expensive. I will say though, if you're looking to give this series a go, try the first one. The first one when I was a kid proper shit me up. It's very good in the suspense, so the music is incredibly freaky and scary. Then you've got, I said, the visuals, so there are different types of ghosts. There are ghosts that have had their necks broken and they fall from the rafters, and you can only get a ghost by taking a picture from a camera. It's a special camera that has certain pieces in it, so but when you take a photo, it hurts them and catches their spirit. It is an incredibly good game, and as I said, when I was a kid it probably shit me up. I remember playing it and going for dinner, so I paused it and then coming back, and what they've done is on the actual pause screen, if you leave it for long enough, children's handprints go across the screen, and I think you can hear laughter of children as well. There are points in the game where you kind of have to get caught, and that is scary too. Like the Shrine Maiden comes at you, and she's this big kind of creature that has loads of other creatures attached and growing out of her, and she's really freaky. When I was a kid, literally me and my friend would play it, but I would have to control it because she was too scared to control it, so it was that type of game. But as I've said, if you really like horror genre and you've never played this game, I would really recommend it. As I've said, I'd start off with the first one because the first one tells you where the story comes from, where the camera comes from, and then onwards. The second one is just as a good game. It's the same storyline, but this is two twin girls. I can't actually remember their names, which is really annoying. I'm thinking Miku, but Miku's the first girl in the first one. Maya, I know one's Maya, I think, but they're two twin girls. The only thing which I dislike about number 2 is it ends up kind of being an escort mission, and there's one girl that's really outgoing, and then there's another girl that just does that annoying thing and just goes and hides, and you're like, can we just run right now? So you have to fight a lot more in the second one. The third one reminds me a little bit of Silent Hill for the Room, so if you're into that, then... So what I mean by this is, and again this is not a spoiler, if you play Silent Hill for the Room you'll know what I mean. But so in Project 03 you are a woman in a little kind of apartment flat in Japan, and you don't actually leave the flat or apartment. You find the camera in your basement, or not basement, your attic, sorry, and in a cupboard in your closet as you go up, and from then on you have dreams which take you to the mansion, so you're always in that place. It's almost like Silent Hill for the Room, where suddenly that hole appears in your bathroom and you can go through into Silent Hill, but that's the only way, and you never actually really leave the room because the room is always like the doors locked up and stuff. So that one is a bit more testing personally. Like, I found that one a lot more boring. The first one, you're running around, like I can literally walk you through every room in the mansion because I've played this game so many times. Spirit Camera I have completed once and only once. As I said, it was very tedious, the fact they've used the 3DS camera, so you actually hold the camera and have to, and then every now and again it will literally be like almost like turn to page 3, and you have to get the guide out and turn to page 3 and then hold the camera over the guide. Then either something happens, like a little movie, or a ghost might come out of the camera, out of the book, sorry, and then you have to fight it with the camera. So it is a bit tedious, and there's a main girl character, woman character, which I can't remember her name of, and you have to constantly, she'll start talking to you, and you have to then find her with the camera and talk to her, and you stand there like that constant. It's a bit tedious, and it was definitely not my favourite. I think sales proved that as well with that, because it yeah, it very is, it's not the best game. And the final one on Wii U, honestly, I've completed every one apart from that one, because it's again so tedious. You have to use the TV, plus they've done that thing they love to do on the Wii U, where they gave you the map on the gamepad, but then if you flipped it round, because you had to use the gamepad as your camera, then the TV turned into your map, and then the screen was on your gamepad, and you had to take the photos and watch what you were doing. I did try really hard to get through that game, but yeah, I didn't complete it, hands down. I didn't. I'd like to complete it personally, but I didn't. I believe there is one more Project Zero game. The franchise is obviously more popular in Japan and China, but it's not as over here, unfortunately. So what they did was they made a single game, I don't know the title of it, which has been made and stayed in Japan. And the problem is, obviously you can get a Japanese console to play it on, but because it's all in Japanese, you have to be able to understand Japanese, because it's very story driven, the game. So that's definitely one of those things that sucks. I would really like to play that one, but one of those things. I know people are trying to, or slowly doing a port for it, so you can actually download it perhaps off of Steam, or play it with an emulator on like a PC, but hopefully one day. But yeah, so that's the series I really recommend you play for this Halloween. It's certainly, I stand by it, if you turn the lights off and you're just playing that, it will definitely freak you out. It used to freak me out as a kid, and there's certain bits that still make me jump even though I know they're going to happen. So let me know down in the comments below though what one you really like. You might really like a completely different game that I've never heard of. Another game one day that I definitely want to do talk about is Shadow Hearts, and that is not Kingdom Hearts, that's Shadow Hearts. It's so good, and I absolutely adored that game as a kid. Again, it's very underrated, and there is 3 of them, and I'm really hoping they do a PlayStation port to the PlayStation Store for that one, but the likelihood again is very slim for the UK, because it's just not very popular in the UK, unfortunately. But let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I will see you guys next time. So